Hi everybody, it's Jake Johnston here from Jake Showcase. I've got a lot of information in this video that I'm going to try to compress as quickly as possible. The topic right now is going to be drinking and the ways to quit drinking, what you need to know as an individual, and I'm also going to talk about how people can help somebody who's struggling with drinking problems, but it can also extend to drug problems. Now, my qualifier is that, well, first of all, look at me. I mean, you should be able to see in my eyes, you know, the depth of difficulty that I've had, but, you know, a lot of that may not be visible or penetrable to you. So I've been through a lot with drinking. I have gone to 5 rehabs. I've had multiple incidences with the cops. I've been hospitalized several times. I've gone through very painful withdrawals. I've joined groups. You know, lots of people have tried to help me, and you know, I've gone to counselors groups, psychiatrists, psychologists, and it's just about impossible. Just about everything you can think of, I've tried. You know, reading books, art projects. You know, go figure. Anyway, drinking is something that is something I love. You know, I feel like, you know, I was the biggest drunk in the world, really. You know, I was at that gold level. I would drink for weeks on end, you know, day and night, cases and cases and cases. I wouldn't even have to leave my apartment or apartments. I would have it ordered in. I'd stumble out. I was banned from, you know, lots of different places. I haven't been invited to weddings for years. You know, I've been through a lot with alcohol, and the thing that changed it for me was just a thought process switched. You see, I thought, or my belief was, and I'm still not sure if I'm right, to be quite frank with you, but that you're always going to go to the thing that you love. And if you love alcohol so much, you're always going to go back to it. And so even if you try to quit drinking, or you pause it, or you know, swear off of it, or whatever it is that you're doing, you're always going to go back. And that was my most core belief. So therefore, really quitting was pointless. You know, I mean, because you're going to end up going back. And you know, I wouldn't last a couple days, you know, past, you know, finishing a rehab, or, you know, I could maybe 1 or 2 or 3 days and I'd go back to drinking. I was hardcore. And you can ask anybody who knows me, or you can check on hospital records or cop records or whatever you want to verify that. But it was hardcore, dude. And you know, I was in the streets. I was at the soup kitchens for months, and the homeless shelters and stuff like that. So it's really tough. So the thing is that if you're struggling with this, if this is for you and you're having a hard time with it, think about a time, you know, some time that you were sober, right? Like, and try to think, like, do you like that? You know, do you want that? Do you want that? You've done it. You know, you've done that, right? And then try to see if you can do it again, right? See if you can do it again. And I know the whole one day at a time and the millions and millions of cliches that they have at AA, and quite honestly, it's a little overdone. But, you know, it's what you want, you know? Like, when you're a little kid, think about this. When you're a little kid, right? When you're playing in the sandbox, or when you're playing basketball, you weren't drinking. You weren't drinking, right? And you're having a good time. You were happy, right? And you get your Pepsi, or maybe you get your cheesesteak or whatever, and you weren't drinking, you're having a good time. You're sneaking around, maybe doing something, you know, playing with the dog, or, you know, maybe, who knows what you're doing. But you're having fun, and you were free, and you were you, right? That's the main thing. And you were sober. And so because of that, you know, if you can remember that, that time period, you can go back to that time period, right? Now, when you're shaking on your bed and you have your beer bottle right beside you, and that drink is looking, you know, that's the answer, right? It doesn't seem like you can say no to that, but you can. You know, you can. And for me, I sort of put like a little timeline. Like, I mean, I had this insight, and it was really profound on a Friday night, and I said I was going to quit on a Sunday because I like watching hockey, and I wanted to watch a Saturday night hockey night in Canada, you know, a hockey game. So I said on Sunday I was going to quit, and lo and behold, it was on a Sunday I quit. I woke up. I wasn't going to tell anybody I quit drinking until somebody came over or checked on me, and that took about almost one day, because there was a lot of concern, a lot of phone calls, and a lot of people coming over trying to get me to quit. And of course, it's not going to be good. Asking me to go to the hospital again. This isn't like your first time, right? So the core is you, right? The core is that you got to remember times that you were sober, and try to think if you like that, and try to maybe just try it for one day. It's really, really painful. You know, it's not about God or the program, or about, you know, if you go, you know, follow the rehabs program, or if you follow the AA program, or if you follow, you know, a psychiatrist program, or if you take, you know, a pill. You know, it's about you, right? And it's what you want. And if you know, what do you want? And if you want to be sober, you can be, you know, because you were before, right? So now, I don't know. Am I done drinking? I don't know, right? I don't know. I have a beer in the fridge, right? The power is not in the beer. I remember one time I was drinking, and I was in a rehab. I was in the rehab, and I would bring drinks into the rehab. I would sneak them in, and I would drink there. And I remember I was renting a rooming house above a bar, right? So I was living in this bar, the dirtiest, scummiest bar you can imagine. I was living on the top, and I wasn't drinking. So, you know, the time, the place, the situation is you're indifferent. You're gonna do what you want, where you want to do it. It doesn't matter if they you know, you can make I've heard you can make moonshine inside of jails, right? So the point is what do you want, right? And how do you want to live, right? So that's for the individual. Now for the people outside of that, right? Like the parents, the counselors, the friends, and this and that. I really have a thing against this tough love. I really do not like it. I do not think it's correct. You have to understand, when you force a person into an animal state and you refuse to help them, right, you are going to get animal reactions. And animal reactions are survival. And they will do or say or try anything to survive, right? And if you have a person who does not have any food, or does not have, cannot pay their rent, or has the threat, or doesn't have any form of communication like telephone, because all of that's been cut off, or your electricity, you know, these things are not benefiting. It makes the person distrust the outside world even more. So I think that the way to do it is you need to take care of the basics of the person, or you have to be conscious that, you know what, they are probably going to drink, you know, the money that they receive, but they still need a place to live, they still need some food to eat, and they still need to have, like, you know, some of the basics like electricity and a telephone. In North America, it's really helpful. And, you know, I survived not having any of those things, but, you know, I really highly recommend that you want to have the person trust you, right? You want to have the person think that you're on their side. And by being tough, and by being angry, and by shutting them off, makes them feel like you do not like them and they do not trust you. And so if they agree to go to a rehab, and it goes for the jury and the courts and all that too, they agree to go because they're forced into a situation you're not going to have the results you wanted, and in fact, you might even double their resolve to not quit drinking or not stop using drugs, right? So I disagree with that, and I really highly recommend that people switch the option. You know, that you're on their side, you want to help them, and you're going to back them up no matter what the situation is, because you love them. You honestly love them. And, you know, and with the stuff with, you know, not being invited to weddings or parties and stuff like that, or Thanksgiving or Christmases, no. The person, if they're feeling like they're wanted, if they're feeling like they're invited, right, strangely, even if they've been drunk for 3 weeks, they'll try to sober up to come to the thing, to put on a half-decent performance or a show. You know, they're going to do their best to somewhat put up a good face on it. You know, even if they want to drink when they're there, you know, that if possible, I think you should allow them to do it. Allow them to have the freedom to live the way that they want, but encourage them to, maybe, think of a different path, because I have a strong faith in the human soul, and I think that the human soul is the thing that actually turns this around, right? And this is my insights after years and years and years of drinking, and re-drinking and drinking again. It's been it's been about 2.5 years now, and some of you might think that, well, that's not long enough, and some might think that's a long time, but from what I've read, 97% of people who quit drinking who have a drinking problem within the 1 year go back to drinking. So that's not very many people. 3% what's called spontaneously remiss, if you want to get real technical. Now, those are the basics. There's also the whole thing about alcoholism as a definition, which it's problematic. For the real intellectual who wants to know what is the definition of alcoholism and alcoholic, the reason I was really interested in this was because I wanted to know if I was or if I wasn't with alcoholism, right? And there's 7 factors that you have to go through in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, and quite frankly, you can bob and weave through these things, and you can basically figure out or weasel your way out of not being applicable to all of these factors. And I really think that that the whole psychiatric diagnosis has got to be changed, because for a smart person who doesn't want to quit drinking, right, they're going to figure out a way to intellectually make it so that they don't have to quit drinking, because they're not in fact with alcoholism. And so the problem with alcoholism is, I don't think it exists. It doesn't actually exist, because it doesn't fit a clear enough category, right? But drinking problems certainly do exist, and that's what I feel like I've experienced. I'm a hardcore, heavy-duty, gold medal, drop dead, drunk, who has figured out a way to, re-engage life, get healthy, learn about it, and try to help other people. So, this is my journey. Right? This is my journey, and I know you're on your journey if you're watching this, right? So if you're either on the really hurting end and you're trying to clean up, or if you're on the trying to help somebody clean up, right? Those are some of the insights that I have from a real perspective. Now, I know this video is different than all the others, but I think in a lot of ways it might be my most important. Okay? If you have questions, you can email me at jakeshowcase@gmail.com, and I hope that's helpful for somebody, and maybe many people. All right, and thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.